For almost 2 weeks, every single morning, before I'd had my coffee, before I'd even fully woken up, there was a fresh pile of dog waste sitting right next to my mailbox. Not somewhere off in the grass, not tucked away in the corner of the yard. Right there. Like a package someone had deliberately left for me to deal with. And the man responsible? He walked away every single time. Because in his world, his dog's mess was my problem now. He had no idea what was coming. If you've ever had a neighbor who looked you dead in the face and acted like common decency was optional, this one's for you. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and buckle in. Because what this person did next was petty, precise, and absolutely satisfying. There's a certain kind of disrespect that doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't come with an argument or a slammed door. It comes quietly, repeatedly, like it's testing you, nudging at your patience every single day to see exactly how much you'll absorb before you finally snap. That's what those 2 weeks felt like. My duplex sits on a regular residential street. Nothing fancy, just a neighborhood where people walk their dogs in the morning, wave from driveways, and generally understand that we're all sharing the same small stretch of world. The mailbox is right at the edge of the property, close to the sidewalk, the kind of spot you pass a dozen times a day without thinking about it. Until you have to do a little sidestep every single morning just to get your mail. Introduce the antagonist. Paint the picture. At first, I told myself what most reasonable people tell themselves. Someone just missed it. Maybe they didn't have a bag. Maybe they didn't notice in the dark. I didn't want to be the kind of person who assumes the worst about their neighbors without evidence. But the evidence started piling up. Literally. Day after day. Same spot. Same mess. And then I started noticing the pattern. There was a man a couple of houses down who walked a big chocolate lab every morning. The kind of dog that's lovable and enormous and leaves equally enormous evidence of its presence. And this man had a particular habit. As his dog would squat and do what dogs do, he would pull out his phone and suddenly become fascinated by whatever was on that screen. Eyes completely down. Body language screaming, "I don't see anything. I'm not here. This isn't happening." And then, the moment it was over, he'd glance back. Not long enough to actually do anything, just long enough to confirm what he already knew. Then he'd walk on, dog trotting happily beside him, leaving behind a little daily reminder that some people operate on a completely different moral frequency than the rest of us. The confrontation, sensory detail, internal dialogue. I could feel my jaw tightening every morning. There's a specific kind of frustration that builds when you're being wronged by something small but persistent. It's not the dramatic outrage of a big betrayal. It's quieter than that, more grinding, like a dripping faucet at 2 a.m. It's not destroying your house, but it's destroying your peace. One particular morning, I was at the window with my coffee when I watched it happen in real time. The lab sniffed around, found his spot, the spot right by the post, and did his business. The man looked back, saw exactly what was there, and started walking. I set my mug down. I went outside. "Hey," I called out, keeping my voice calm. Friendly, even. Because I'm an adult, and I genuinely believe in giving people the chance to do the right thing. "You gonna get that?" He stopped, turned, and said, with a completely straight face, "I don't have a bag." I want you to really sit with that response for a second. Not, "Oh God, I'm so sorry, I'll grab one next time." Not embarrassment. Not even a decent attempt at an excuse. Just a simple declaration, offered like it was some kind of answer. Like announcing he lacked a bag was the logical endpoint of this conversation. Like the existence of dog waste next to my mailbox was now a closed matter. I looked at him. "Then maybe don't walk your dog without one," I said. He shrugged. Not a small, awkward shrug. A full, deliberate, "I genuinely do not care" shrug. And he kept walking. The turning point. The internal shift. I stood there on the sidewalk for a long moment, after he disappeared around the corner, and something shifted in my chest. Not anger exactly, but something colder, more focused. Because the thing about that shrug wasn't just that it was rude. It was that it communicated something very specific. You are not worth the minimum effort of basic courtesy. That's the part that crystallized everything for me. Not the mess, the shrug. I wasn't going to knock on anyone's door and beg for basic human decency. I wasn't going to leave a note that would be ignored or escalate things into a screaming match in the street, but I also wasn't going to keep doing the little sidestep dance every morning like this. It was just the price of living near another human being. I was going to make a slight adjustment to the delivery process. The plan, measured, almost amused. I went to the store that afternoon and bought the cheapest box of dog waste bags I could find. Bright green, little pink twist ties. Nothing dramatic, just the tools for a very specific job. And then I waited. The next morning, I was ready. And sure enough, the lab made his deposit, right on schedule. The man did his phone routine and walked away. I put on my shoes, grabbed a bag, and took care of it myself. Then I walked down the street, up his front path, and set the neatly tied little package on his porch. Didn't knock, didn't leave a note. Didn't need to. I did this every morning. The situation repeated itself, quietly, consistently. A neat little daily return of lost property. The escalation, build the tension. By the third morning, the energy had shifted. I could feel it when I'd see him in passing, the slight stiffness in his posture, the way his eyes didn't quite meet mine. He knew. Of course he knew. By day 6, he knocked on my door. I opened it. He was standing there, arms slightly crossed, face carrying the particular expression of someone who has convinced themselves that they are the wronged party in this situation. "This is childish," he said. And here's the thing. I genuinely had to pause. Because the audacity of that sentence, spoken by a man who had spent nearly 2 weeks leaving his dog's waste at my property and shrugging at me when I asked him to clean it up, it was actually a little breathtaking. "What's childish," I said, keeping my voice even, "is thinking your dog's mess becomes my problem because you're too lazy to carry a bag." He actually had the nerve to say, and I want you to really appreciate this, that I could have just talked to him. Internal monologue, disbelief, then triumph. I stared at him for a moment. The replay of that sidewalk conversation was rolling through my head like a highlight reel. Me, outside in the morning, asking him politely to clean it up. Him, looking at me, announcing he had no bag, and walking away with a shrug. "That's literally what I did," I told him. "I talked to you. You told me you didn't have a bag and walked away." He didn't have a response to that. Not a real one. The conversation ended. He left. And then, the next morning, I looked out the window. His dog walked its usual route, paused near the mailbox, and the man reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a bag. A small thing. An extraordinarily small thing. But I want to tell you, standing there watching it happen, there was a quiet, complete satisfaction in that moment that I can't fully describe. Not because I'd humiliated him or won some dramatic confrontation, but because something that was wrong had simply been corrected. The natural order of decent neighborly behavior had been restored through the patient, consistent, dignified return of consequences. His dog never left anything by my mailbox again. The man discovered, apparently for the first time, that bags exist, that pockets are designed to hold things, and that the minimum courtesy of cleaning up after your pet is actually a pretty reasonable ask. Sometimes the most effective response to disrespect isn't a dramatic showdown. Sometimes it's just quietly, persistently, calmly making sure that the consequences of someone's choices land where they belong. He called it childish. I call it logistics. And honestly, the bag thing takes, 5 seconds? He had it in him the whole time. He just needed a little motivation to find it. If this story gave you that deeply satisfying sense of justice being served, smash the like button and let me know in the comments. What's the most quietly brilliant piece of petty justice you've ever witnessed or pulled off yourself? I read every single one. And of course, subscribe for more stories exactly like this, because we're just getting started.